Oh, see, now I think this is worth mentioning. So when you look at like people get all crazy about like every single note. The one she's doing where she's kind of throwing the F5s away, I like it. Right? I like that. It's an artistic statement. You know, and like you'll see in the comments, like, oh, Mariah has a hard time hitting F5. Like, no, she doesn't, you jackass. That's a great belt, too. Belting on an F is not the easiest thing at all. Anya, I know. I love you, too. Okay? But you can't be in the chair. Okay? Okay. My dog wants to be famous. If we're talking about the aesthetic of the voice, Mariah's tone here is a result of the false folds being retracted. Okay, right now, I have my false folds retracted because I like the way it sounds. But if I didn't, I would sound like this. And this is a lot more speech-like, but I like sounding like this. So that's the difference in tone here. 3 equals falsetto? Nah. You can get it. It's air leaks through into the microphone. You can hear air because the folds are not completely closed. So that doesn't mean falsetto. What is falsetto? It's kind of like, you know, it's not like there's a reason why head voice versus falsetto is like the biggest fight on the internet. For me, the way I'm operating, my definition, my bias, the way I'm going to talk about it in this video is that falsetto is fully flipped folds and head voice has anywhere this connection, probably not fully connected, but like right there. And belt is not head voice. That's how I roll. Rebel. That's lovely. Okay, before we get into the nonsense this whistle registers, before we have that, it's worth noting that except for the very last example, Ariana's transition up had far less vocal connection, right? Or not like, I mean, the vocal folds are not necessarily touching as much. That's what I mean. I'm not saying it's like it's not supported. It's supported just fine. I think the aesthetic is very intentional, which is why when you hear Mariah do it, you only hear one example of that airy kind of approach. Yeah. There. So that little crack was a lot of vocal closure to, again, not a complete flipping, but like, you know, fat to like this very rapidly. So for the most part, people are talking in the chat about flatulence versus whistle. Same thing. But what would be better, and there's going to be arguments, like, it's not the same thing. What you have to understand is that, like, when we're talking about this stuff, we're talking in a shorthand, right? I think like gender spectrum is a good example, right? Like there's like 6 in like what was the initial article? I'm so dumb with this shit. I'm sorry. But there's what's the scale? Anyway, the scale, the proposal was that there's, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 of bisexual, but then, you have someone coming in and they're saying that's non-binary, they're non-binary, and that's like good, that's fine, right? So when we're talking about whistle and we're saying this is the sound that I am referring to as whistle, and it crosses over into some of your ideas of what flageolet is, which not German, that pronunciation is not going to happen. There's no need to get up in arms about it. So I just call them the same thing because the function, I'm pretty sure, is the same, except we don't really know what happens. I don't think, we don't officially know what happens with whistle register. It's been difficult, if not impossible, to get a scope into the vocal tract when it's that small. So we don't really know. We have some ideas, but... This is just straight up unkosher. This is nuts. Okay, so this is insane. When she does that vibrato on a whistle, that's just demented. It's hard enough on a whistle to like orient your folds into that like whistle shape, because that's what it is. The vocal folds basically doing right, and that probably bleeds on the microphone, but that's what they're doing. The vocal folds. Keep in mind that the vocal folds for a woman on average are the size of a United States dime. That is so tiny, right? It's incredibly small. So getting that thing to get into a shape where you can whistle is already insane. But then you add a different element. When you have vibrato, what you're doing is my goodness, my headphones, my life. When you have vibrato, what's happening is that the thyroid cartilage right here, which is like a giant shield Adam's apple kind of thing, it tilts. And that's significant because the vocal folds are attached to the thyroid cartilage. So when you tilt, it stretches the folds. So not only does she have this like super tiny, precise, like a tenth of a dime little thing that she's controlling to get on pitch, now she's doing it when she's stretching her folds. God damn! New York vocal coach can have whatever definitions that he wants. The most important thing is that he's getting what he wants out of the student, and the student is getting value out of that. The only way we're like gonna get like exactly involved in all this stuff is like we sit down with a spectrogram. We sit down with scoped footage, and then we talk about these like stupid little specific things, to which point names become all a description of a continuum, which is so, you know, like getting stuck on the terms is not like, you know, if you're in the YouTube comments and you're like, it's not falsetto, like you need to rethink your life. Is that too harsh? I feel like that was too harsh. Oh. Okay, I'm sorry. That's beautiful to me. In general, I do prefer Mariah's tone quality because of the retraction of the false folds, makes it richer, deeper. But there are moments where Ariana is like, damn, yes. It's ridiculous. Like a fucking parakeet. She's talking in bird. What the fuck? Ridiculous. I had a bird growing up. That's what it fucking sounds like. It's no wonder there's a video of Mariah Carey doing that to the dolphin. The dolphin's like, yo, bro, what the fuck is that, right? I am cursing a lot today. I'm going to get demonetized, and it's worth it for self-expression. Oh, YouTube, huh? You like your money? You like your ability to create? No, you don't get it. You said the F word, and children who shouldn't be watching YouTube videos anyway. There's a whole policy on that. But, you know, it's like, so this is where I get into different terminology, okay? I won't go into the flagellant versus the whistle and the head voice versus falsetto, but I'll go off on AdSense and CPMs because I'm a nerd, as you can see by my tilted glasses and 2 headphones. What am I doing? So it's a job, doing this while I'm at work. I mean, I'm not doing it at work. Yeah, I much prefer personally Mariah in this situation, just because of her. I identify more with the general approach and decision making that she takes in these things. And you might like Ariana better, and that's totally fine.
Remember when you were here and all the fun we had last year.
All right, hold on. That's really interesting. Oh my goodness, that is not what I meant to do.
'Cause I remember when you all the fun we had last year.
This is going to be an interesting thing right here. So this is, you know, some folks talk about like Ariana singing with tension. First of all, I love the fact everyone's like, oh, Mariah's past her prime. When you have a baby, your folds become thicker. When you get older, your folds become thicker. And listen to the, I mean, first of all, she is like a nice, like she got curves, right? And definitely looks different than she did in the 90s, right? Different voice, different body. And so when you listen to this whistle, listen to the warmth it has. Right? Like it actually has kind of the same bottom warmth as Ariana. Now maybe that's a mixing decision from the engineer, but it's warm, right? It's there, and that wasn't there early in her career because it just wouldn't be. And that right there, this tension thing that I'm seeing a lot of people get up in arms about. It's if you want to have like a tight sound, you tighten things up. So let's talk about what she's tightening up here. Right? So what's happening here for Ariana is she's notice that she's doing this with the chin, and the larynx is like popping up like crazy. Let's get a zoom in so we can see that larynx. Okay, so her larynx right here. Oh, actually, it's a little higher than that. Right there. Zoom in a little further to see it. Boy, okay, right there. That little bump is the thyroid cartilage. That is a very, very high larynx. You can see that her jaw's up, and that makes room for the larynx to go higher. My God, I look green now, and I have a bunch of red arrows on me. Look, Ma. I had content. The reason I bring that up is because that sound that she's making, it has a tightness to it. It's not efficient, right? It's not ergonomic. But presumably, we're going to go with that she wants that sound, right? We're just going to give her the benefit of the doubt here. So if you want to have that kind of a tight sound because it's aggressive or it's a tense moment in the song, this is a way to do it. So your false folds in this instance are neutral, which makes going higher difficult anyway for reasons. And on top of that, you know, there's that false fold tension. The way that you can accommodate that, or at least make up for it, is by raising the larynx this high. And so that's why she's doing it, is because presumably she wants that sound. And if you want that sound, raising your larynx this high when making that sound kind of offsets a lot of the difficulty that would come from just making the sounds of the false folds being neutral or even together. If you're Jasmine Sullivan, then you're just a wizard and you can do everything. The fuck is going on? This is going to be a tough one, the isolating with an EQ. Yeah, you can tell. But like, look at how even when someone's trying to isolate it, listen to how low, you get that low from Mariah bleeding in. It sounds good together. It does. It's just ridiculous, though. It's like, I don't know. This is preposterous levels of technique. It does sound good, though. That's the problem with this, is that it sounds good, so I can't even be too critical and call it frivolous. So now I have to go sit with myself and justify my music degree to my parents. And they're just going to be like, well, Mariah exists, so you wasted your time and money. I know how to make my parents proud. So, okay, the reason why I really find the whistle and then the whistle with vibrato happening is because in a world where you're doing that, let's use a parallel, right? If I'm whistling, right, that's hard enough, right? Now I'm going to whistle and do this, and whistle at the same time, which is basically what they're doing. So, yeah, some gymnastics shenanigans there. Give her a gold medal, for God's sakes. What? She's yodeling on a whistle. That is completely ridiculous. As far as we understand with whistles, unless like something new came out that I don't know about, which is totally probable, because shit is fast with science. But as far as I know, with whistles, the vocal tract is so small that you can't fit any observable instruments in there. Like I said, that might have changed. But what we are pretty sure about is that the vocal folds take a shape very similar to, right, whistling. Why it's so ridiculous that she's yodeling with it is that she can get it into that precise spot so easily that she can have her folds like fat and singing and going, and then just pop into that exact precise whistle, which is insane. Yeah. So yeah, super elegant. I love it.